There, this is Mikail, and I'm with a good friend named Anton.
Nice to meet you, everybody.
And we're just so excited right now because we finished a great film that I think it released in 2012.
2012.
It's called The Master, and it has great actors Joaquin Phoenix, who plays the star role, and a supporting actor played by Philip Seymour Hoffman. Lancaster Dodd, but he's referred to as the Master almost throughout the whole duration of the film. And oh boy, I had no idea it had anything to do about religion and hypnotherapy, but there's a lot of great technique used psychoanalytically wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you think about like their persuasion in the film? Like according to like the character asking so many questions, and he showed me a video that it actually had similar techniques to how Scientology works. And you know, just because Scientology uses it, which yes, I guess it was heavily inspired by it.
I would believe so that this is a film that has to do with it follows the story of what's the character's name? Freddie Quill,
Freddie, yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix, where he just got back from a war and he has PTSD and he's trying to get his life back together, and he drinks and he is sexually frustrated, and he meets Philip Seymour, who's helping him out through Scientology, through this new religion and founding of the world. So it makes sense with how he's trying to help him out by curing him. And I find it like kind of really interesting because it is just like finding a brand new religion where you're given all these questions, and you need tons of answers, but it's kind of flipped around where the religion is like asking questions to him, and he has to be answering questions. And there we really find his like deep inner thoughts and his weaknesses of his character, as well as some of his strengths. So like one of the main questions was in my film class, there was a kid who said his favorite movie was The Master. And my professor said, I have one question for you. Who do you think in The Master is the master? And after he asked that question to that student, I don't remember what his answer was, and it really doesn't matter. But after hearing that, I was like, okay, I have to see this movie. This sounds like something that I and Mikail would absolutely love to watch. So this is why I brought it up for Mikail.
Oh, absolutely. And it just focusing on Joaquin Phoenix's character, Freddie, like it was all about the journey. We all do stupid things. We go through all these relationships, and sometimes we take it for granted. In his case, I don't want to spoil it, but you know, he didn't know what he wanted. And they say, why don't you go back? Why don't you go back? Why don't you go back? And he's like, I don't know. I don't know.
He didn't want to.
And you know, that just reminds me of the book where it says, when I'm gone, you'll know when I'm not talking anymore.
I
And
think it's over there.
oh, is it? Is it right there?
Oh, you'll know I'll stop talking
When I stop
when
talking.
I'm dead.
Yeah. Oh, I have it.
So we'll show you the cover so you know what book we're talking about.
So this guy, he's like a billionaire most likely, and if he could go back, because he's like 70 and it's too late, he'd say to just enjoy life more. And I think sometimes you need someone to tell you that, you know, slow down and like look around you right now. We were getting chicken previously before we went to the film, and you know, Anton here pointed out that the sky is beautiful, the mountains look, and I didn't realize that he doesn't get to see that a lot because he lives in the South, not the racist South, but in Summerlin South, and I'm in North Las Vegas and I'm by the mountains, and yes, I'm very
I'm
blessed.
surrounded by tall trees and tall houses, so I don't get to see this beautiful view of the mountains, and then
It's
you're surrounded by
fantastic.
more open land.
Yes.
And I got to see the very bottom of the mountain going up, and I just kind of stopped and I admired it absolutely.
That's what we all need to do. We need to like understand that there's a lot going on in this world, and if we are looking too much into the past or too much ahead, we sort of forget that the miracle is now, and it's the present.
Yeah, and speaking of the past, I like how in the Scientology, they make the person they're interviewing or they're trying to help look into the past and try to experience all those emotions and the trauma that you've been through, and they make you be okay with it.
It's sort of coming to terms.
That was like the main battle the main character has, was being okay with his past.
Mm-hmm.
Through all of that stress and the drama and the chaos and the war that he's been through.
Mm-hmm. He sort of became the soldier, the hitman for, I don't want to call it a cult, but, you know, this religion that helped him cope with his sort of struggles. So it was weird because how the Philip Seymour Hoffman's character was speaking, he said, "I don't want you being physical because we're not animals." So you'll see a sort of like parallel or a sort of juxtaposition with Joaquin's character and Philip Seymour Hoffman, because it's a sort of balance between sort of wild and contained, or like
he doesn't fit in.
Yeah.
And the master even says, like at the beginning, like we're higher than animals. We're
Right.
at the top of the food chain now, the best of the animal kingdom. And when he meets Freddie Quell, he says, "You're still an animal." And
he farts.
Yeah, and then he farts, and he's like, "Those are your animal instincts right there."
And he says, "It's good to laugh. I'm gonna forget you did that to me."
Yeah, I think one of the most interesting things I found in this movie was when they were doing the montage of him
beautiful.
getting better.
Yeah.
The scene where he's sitting down across from, what's the character's name? Clark, the husband of his daughter.
Oh.
Yeah, and of the master. And the exercise was, for 1 minute, the other person gets to just talk trash or about anything, words, just single words, full sentences, to try to trigger an emotional response from the other person. While the other person, for 1 minute, has to just sit there and take it. And through that, they develop self-control.
Yes.
And it's just this bizarre exercise that I have never, ever seen before.
It's bizarre to us now because we're watching it for the very first time, but I'm sure through practice it makes sense. And that's what gives it, the whole religion validity, is that it actually gets them to start feeling good, and their whole psychological being is being affected and manipulated.
And it helps them grow self-control of alcohol, because he has the main character has a drinking problem.
Big.
He also has a sexual problem. And throughout the film, as he's battling or he's learning this new religion of Scientology, it's helping him build muscles and strengths for him himself to control himself around all of these pleasures and desires that he wants. So I found that really, really interesting as like just a lesson about in life. How, like, we can come back and we can look into this, and we also have weaknesses. Like, we have natural animal instincts and desires that we do. And if we just understand that they're there and it's okay, but we're better than that, and society has grown and it's okay, we're not hunting for food anymore, and we can be smarter and we don't have to tend to those desires, that we can actually come out as better people. Is one of the biggest lessons I got.
Oh yeah, you'd like to clear all of civilization. And, you know, you're reading the book The Secret. Have you gotten into the chapter about, you know, getting rid of that ideology that there isn't enough, that we need to be fighting each other, competing against resources?
Absolutely.
And you say to yourself, I have an abundance. And it's funny because I remember we watched a video, it had Ty Lopez bringing up Bill Gates. And Bill Gates, he linked him with Seneca. But the whole idea is that Bill Gates always thought that there was enough in this world to share. And right now, if I'm not mistaken, he's the richest man on the planet right now.
There is enough. There is enough.
And there's enough.
It
Because he says, if I am right and these people are all here for me, there is enough in this world, you know, because they're all here for me and I'm here for them, you know.
And that's one of the struggles I had like a long time ago. Is I thought the world's about competition.
Mm-hmm.
There's not enough food for everybody in this world. There's not enough money for everybody in this world. And that's what life is going to be like. Like, if you follow the news, news is all bad news and drama, because why would you watch news that's happy news? That's, like, that's good news, but it's going to be boring. It's not going to grow ratings. So news always portrays this chaos in the world, this apocalypse of the swine flu. Oh, the world's going to end in 2012. And if we, like, that kind of stuff keeps our mentality thinking that the world doesn't have enough for everybody, that we have to fight each other. But that's not true. There is enough. And as soon as you understand that there is enough, and it's okay to give, it's okay to share, and it's okay to receive,
the world's going to change.
The world's going to change. And you're
But perception is reality. So right now, it's ugly because that's what everyone's believing. And why would you want to believe in that when you can see the latter and have a more peaceful, less bloody, like, approach? I mean, they say that we are suffering because we desire, and we suffer because we enjoy it. So if you can change your mind to just shut off everything that you know and empty your cup, choose the other way. What do you have to lose? You can always go back to all of that dismay and fear. That'll always be there. But let's try love and compassion and actually, like, working together, because we've had enough of that other BS. I'm sure people have seen that same movie probably like 5 times. And why don't we get something different? You know, why would you eat the same food over and over and over again? They say you're insane if you continue to make the same mistakes over and over again and not change any of your input.
Do you think that that's what the main character was going through? He was making the same mistakes over and over.
So maybe he had...
Because they throughout the film, they're trying to cure him, and he keeps falling back. They tell him, don't drink, and he goes back and he drinks. I won't spoil the ending for you, but it's such an extreme battle of insanity. And that's what I think the main character has, is insanity.
Oh, he's done some
he fights,
crazy
He fights with everybody. He tries to hook up with everybody, and he can't stop drinking.
Oh, yeah.
And in the end, the main character has one of the most toughest decisions to make.
But that's the question, is like, who is the master? If you flip it over and he's the master, then the whole test and the whole journey is actually for those group of students, and that person they call master, Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, they're being tested because he said in one of the scenes, if we fail him, then it is us who fails. So they took it into a personal sort of degree that they had to keep working at it. So they guilted themselves.
Who do you think is the master?
I think the master is anyone who is in control at that moment. The master can change because as roles happen wherever you go, whether you're the parent or you're the teacher or you're the one speaking, you know. So I think it's like a current or a river, you know, whatever flows, the one who controls the current is the master, and it can always change.
Yeah, I could see how I saw that in the movie, but what I got is who I thought is the master is what the movie portrays is yourself. Your willpower.
Oh yeah.
Of how you can control that is going to be the master. If you have bad willpower, then the master controls you. Or are you going to be the body? Is your mind going to be the master? Can you control your desires? Your desires the master, or is your mind the master? That's what I got from it.
Definitely, it comes from within.
Do you have comments unlocked? Can people leave comments now?
Oh, absolutely.
I would love to see what people think is the master. as they leave it down.
And hit that subscribe button.
Absolutely.
But thank you for listening. This was
So,
an actual good...
I would definitely add this movie. I wouldn't say it's on my top 10 list.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's on my must-watch list.
If you're into psychology, psychoanalysis, any type of hypno theories, this is one of those movies that I think you need to check. Because I actually, when I think Scientology, I think Tom Cruise. And there was a meme of him electrocuting Oprah. I don't know why that's in my head, but there's a big deal with why they want to listen, why they donate all that money, is because of the power of words, how it manipulates their minds and makes them feel important.
Yeah.
In that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, they say that people like to feel important. And
Absolutely.
Tom Cruise didn't invent Christianity or Catholicism or the Muslim religion, but he certainly helped, became one of the founders for this religion, and maybe that's why they hold on. Maybe, or maybe there's like a deeper meaning to it. We got to look at it in both sides.
Yeah, that might be another reason why the main character found that religion.
It's one of the original.
Why he actually joined it as a cry for help, because they made him feel important. Because someone actually took time out of their important lives to care for his creations, his poisons. And he cared by asking him questions.
That scene with the jail cell, that was very powerful, because I think previous to that, his own son said, what he's saying is all BS. He's just making it up as he goes. It really hurt him. And then as soon as he showed that anger and willing, I'm going to beat you up for saying that. He's like, oh, I have nothing to say, sir. And then maybe he is right. He's like, I wish you would, because I want to fight somebody. I'm really hurting inside because you just totally blew my mind that I might be lied to. And nobody wants to be lied to. We want that authenticity and genuine response from one another, because they're all a brotherhood. But going into that cell, I guess Philip Seymour Hoffman's character did a good acting role to convince him and say, I care about you. Say, no, you don't. I care about you.
I'm gonna be honest though. This is like one of the movies I've seen that has been like the most confusion.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like the most amount of questions. Like it gives me all these questions. Not a lot of them are answered. Like like there's still scenes in there that I don't understand.
Like the sand.
Like the sand is a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
The naked women with the music was also a bit confusing for me.
That cut really quick. I was like, oh, did I miss something? Should we rewind this? did they slowly take it out?
There's a lot of stuff in there that I feel like I would have to go back and watch it again to figure out some of those hidden meanings. But I feel like if I went back, I'd want to watch it with someone who hasn't watched the film to see what they would have to say. Because after I finished watching the film, I was speechless. My mind was exploding, and I couldn't figure out what the heck this movie was about.
And I'm okay with that.
And that's fine, and that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And that I think that's a good movie. That leaves me thinking, that leaves me going home with all of these questions in my head that
viewing again.
I need to explore. Yes. So
get lost in the musical score at first. Sometimes you just need to let that happen.
The music in this film, the music and the cinematography was perfect. Absolutely beautiful. Speaking of the cinematography, I think at the very beginning of the film, the cinematography was very lengthy. Like it took its time, and it was very like far away shots of the character. Like he felt alone, lost in time,
distant, artsy fartsy.
Yeah, and then when he met the religion of the Scientology,
the camera just felt suffocating.
Yeah, it felt suffocating. It was close-ups from then on. It was reverse shots back and forth. So like, you could feel that he was lost, and then when he found these people, life went back to normal for at least a little bit.
Making all those adjustments.
And that music was amazing.
Oh, my goodness. You know, Joaquin Phoenix always gets these good gigs. He was in a previous film called, or I think it was later on, Her. Her has one of the best musical scores.
I am going to have to see Her.
And he plays like a character that's the complete opposite. I like when actors challenge themselves and take on a role that is much different than what they're used to. And is that a sign that they're a great actor? maybe, but you know, some people are different. I'm okay with, you know, like Seth Rogen being Seth Rogen and Michael Cera being Michael Cera, but I guess it's what it means to you, an actor making a sacrifice, and he definitely sacrificed in this film. I believe those tears. I believe the commitment he put for all that work, and who knows how many cuts there was, but those long shots makes me think that there wasn't any cuts at all. They just so confident with all that panning.
Some of the most beautiful acting work I've seen in a very long time. Those scenes, those are hard to pull off.
To be very patient.
Absolutely.
So, well, yeah. Thank you for listening. I know we said goodbye, but goodbye again.
Yes, this is quite an amazing movie. So I'd highly recommend that you guys watch it.
We recommend it.
Have a great day.
I will.